Welcome to Cape Chronicle. I'm Alix Gasser. Talking with us today is Stacy Kinder, Mayor of Cape Girardeau. Thank you for coming, Mayor Kinder.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the Gun Violence Task Force that recently met this past 2024.
Fall, right.
Yeah, oh my gosh, time just flies.
Yes. Well, the task force was pulled together last summer. And, I would say it was in part a reaction to several kind of higher profile gun crimes that we saw here in Cape. But really, I've been on the city council for 7 years now. And during that whole time, I've just heard a continual, really an increase in the concern citizens have about public safety issues here, in particular gun crimes. And so it felt like a good opportunity for us to really get a group of people together. It was an all-volunteer group, along with a lot of city staff and public safety officials, judicial officials, kind of a very wide-ranging group, and really try to drill down into things that we're seeing here in Cape specifically. Try to think about the causes of gun violence and here and how we might better deal with some of those issues.
Yeah, and so that took place July to December,
Up till
I believe.
December,
Yeah.
That's right. And then the task force presented its report in January to the city council. And I do want to remind people, you can go to the city website at cityofcape.org/GVTF, Gun Violence Task Force, and find the full report there, along with a lot of, actually all of the meetings were recorded, and so all of that is there if people want to go back and watch all of the discussions that were held. Lots of information, and the full report is posted on the city website.
Yeah. And really that was diving into lots of different topics essentially to try to see kind of what I want to say, an overarching goal.
Comprehensive,
there. Yeah.
Yes. It was very comprehensive. We heard from school officials, from judicial officials, like I said, public safety folks, folks in our legal system, community, nonprofit, experts, that kind of thing. There was a lot. Our meetings, well, you were a member of the task force, thankfully, and it was a lot of good discussion. I feel like we could have had 5-hour meetings every time the task force met.
Yeah,
a lot of things, but important things. And I think the group, which officially was maybe 14, 15 people, and then some non-voting like me and city officials, non-voting members, but had some very robust conversations about things and some difficult conversations about things. We're talking a lot about certainly cultural issues. I think we ended up talking about gun crime issues that we see nationwide, in the state, and then in our city and in our families, and talking about at-risk youth and things like that. And so I was very appreciative of all the folks who signed on and volunteered all that time and treated it very seriously.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think it also put in perspective of what can the city actually do and what other sources have to do or influence, and I think that really was helpful of putting it into perspective of, the city only has the ability to do a limited amount because of what the city is allowed to do. And
right.
So
that was too, I felt like that was my, at every meeting I at some point had to pipe up and say, okay, now this is something that maybe is not exactly under the city's purview. So yeah, the main recommendations kind of ended up either as something that the city does have some control over and either needs to continue or perhaps improve upon, and then external things that perhaps the city could advocate for or against, and so there were a lot of conversations about okay, whose responsibility is that, and how might we help move the needle, in some way? Regarding the city, obviously the police department is the main organization that comes to mind, and for good reason. They are, the law enforcement of the community, and so we had some good conversation. I think good education, telling the task force exactly all the different things that the Cape PD is involved with, and certainly the technology, I think, was really interesting to most people in terms of some newer things that the Cape PD is able to do. ShotSpotter was top of mind. Obviously, a gunshot detection system that the city is using in different parts of town that has really had a huge impact on helping our police department find quickly where shots have been fired and find evidence in many cases. That has been a huge time saver and a really good enforcement tool for the police department. And certainly, I think the recommendation was, continue that. That seems to be working, and perhaps even expand it. And that, of course, with that expansion and continuation comes, an expense.
Yes.
And so that's, we talked about that, and that's a real world issue. But that's one. It's called the Flock license plate detection system that the city, the Cape PD has implemented more recently, has been very helpful. And that's not a surveillance tool necessarily, but what it does is help quickly identify vehicles that are already perhaps on a watch of some sort. An alert goes to various public safety jurisdictions. Hey, be on the lookout for this car. There's a active warrant, or there's a somebody's wanted. And our police department has just very recently had some big successes in tracking down some people of interest quickly, put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like it was very informative, and like you mentioned, you can go out and see all of the information out on the website, and I just appreciate the time that you've taken today as well.
Thank you.